What's up, everybody? In this episode, get a bunch of wet sanding done, and then the lights. So the first round of wet sanding is done. We did it with 1200 grit on the DA. I am going to come back in and hit right around here because the DA doesn't hit that very good because of the curve here. So we'll come back and hit that by hand, and then we can move on to 1500 grit. Got this all sanded up. Basically just waiting for some polishing stuff to get here. That won't be here until Thursday, so I'm going to start messing with some wiring stuff. I'm going to start with the park lights, and you can see I got two different ones here. This is what actually fits on here with the studs on the bottom. This must be for a little bit newer one because it's got the studs on the back instead of on the bottom here like this one. But otherwise, dimensionally they're all the same. It's not a big deal because I got to modify them anyways. They are a little bit too deep to fit in there. This sticks out too far and hits the core support that I built. So I'm going to have to come in and slice these, and then I'll drill some holes in the bottom of this one, put the studs there, clean it all up, and then I'm not going to be using the filament type bulb in it. I'm actually going to swap these over to white LED strips for running lights in there, and then so the plan will be 2 whites and 2 orange strips in there. And that'll be the running lights and turn signals. And then rather than using the orange lens, let's see here, I bought some clear lenses to replace them with. So we'll have nice clear lenses on there instead. Alright, we got this one cut, so let's see if it'll fit in there. Oh yeah. These all soldered up. Basically the black ribbons here are the amber LEDs, that'll be the turn signal, and these 2 white ribbons are white LEDs, that'll be the daytime running lights / park lights. Yeah, I got them wired up so that they just come out on 2, or each on a separate pigtail here. This isn't the final product here. Before I go and put the lens on, what I'll do is take some black 2-part epoxy and fill all of this, as well as fill the 2 holes so it holds everything in place. And then after that, I think I'm going to take and put clear epoxy in here. Alright, so I got it clamped together so you can kind of see what it'll look like. And as you can see right now, you can see the red wires and stuff, so that's why I'll be using black epoxy in that area. Cover all that up. Alright, so this is what the blinkers will look like. The 3 amber. And then this is the running lights. 2 white LEDs. Epoxy on the outside edge here, so that it'll harden up and keep all that stuff stable. I was planning on pouring clear resin inside of here and bought some UV Pro epoxy resin, thinking, you know, UV Pro would be good for UV protection. And it says right here not to use it in direct sunlight. Kind of seems like false advertising to me, but Top Dog in here today. Got to block the door because he's smart enough to know how to open the handle. But anyways, got the headlights working on this thing. The factory headlights are, so they power up when it senses that the headlights have to come on. It'll send power to both the high and low beam at the same time. And then to switch them on and off, they're actually controlled on the ground side. So that system doesn't work at all with these 3-wire headlights. The high beam and low beam share a ground, so that would not work on there, obviously. So what I ended up having to do is running them off of relays. So I got 2 relays up here, and basically the factory wiring just runs the power, or runs the switch in here, and then it takes and runs power out to the headlights. And ended up only using the driver's side circuit to control these, and then it just runs over across because those are 50 amp relays. Should be able to control that power, or run enough power to both headlights just fine. So that means all of this wiring basically can come out on this side. You can massively simplify the wiring harness because I really only need 3 wires to run this on each side. So the brown wire is the power for the DRLs, the blue is for the turn signal, and then they can just share ground. So that'll be pretty simple. I'm going to take the ground harness out of this, the ground side of the harness out of the factory wiring, because it's a real disaster and makes no sense as to why they made it so complicated. Because I'll just be running the headlight and the turn signal and the horn grounds. I'll just probably ground them off of the frame rail here, or frame horn here on each side. So we'll just have 3 grounds running down there. Be nice and simple, keep it clean. So yeah, most of this wiring stuff comes out. The fog light harness is coming out. Yeah, and all the extra, because it had separate park lamps, separate turn signals, and then that little side marker light on it. So a lot of these connectors come out. We're just going to be keeping the ambient air temp sensor. I think that's what, I think this is the sensor that goes for the mirror, so I don't know if I'm even going to keep this. Yeah, all this stuff can come out of here basically. So I also went ahead and I added a power block down here. You can see that. So that comes off the starter, and then that has the alternator hooked up to that, and everything else is it's all wired up into that instead of having it, before it was all hooked up on this, and I didn't like that. It was just getting way too much stuff stacked up there. So that just comes off of the bank now, and that basically powers the main harness and the fuse panel, factory fuse panel. Still got the fast system hooked up to it because I don't want to redo that. Alright, so I got most of the harness all loomed up, other than the stuff for the turn signals. Don't have the connectors for them yet, so I just left them bare wires. Added a ground into it for that harness, and then got two grounds, one for each side. We got headlights, horn, turn signal, parks, DRLs here. This is also a turn signal, park, DRLs, ambient air sensor, and the other horn, and then headlight obviously. And this goes up under the fuse panel, both of these here. This bolts to the bottom of the fuse block. This pins into another one. And basically these two wires, all these are for, is for the ambient air temp sensor. I'm not sure if I even need this. It's part of the ECM PIDs or not, or if it just goes straight to the mirror. I'm not 100% sure on that. And then we got the power supply with the fuses and our relays over here. So yeah, I'm gonna toss it back in. I can route where these are gonna go, cut them down some, and then put some loom on them. And all I gotta do is wait for my connectors to show up. All right, so we have a working light harness. The turn signals are just wired up with butt splices right now. Still waiting for my Deutsch style connectors to show up. So they're just butt spliced in. But anyways, the rest of the harness is all ran. It's all loomed up. So we got the relays over here. I ended up running it, instead of going underneath all of the mounting and everything like I was before, I just went over top of it. It was just easier after I tied everything in with the main harness that goes under the fuse box here. And then yeah, it's just wire loomed across. Nice and secured. Still gotta do secure it going down here yet. Probably just gonna do it the easy way and get some Velcro straps again and strap them to the it'd be trans cooler lines. And then parks or the turn signal wires just come through this hole that was already in the firewall, so don't have to do any modifications there. Yeah, it's all wired up. Grounded down below. Ended up I grounded it on this piece so that when I go, if I ever have to take the cab off, all I gotta do is loosen these bolts and lift it up. Don't have to worry about disconnecting all that stuff because it's all contained now. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. I was hoping to get it polished yet this week, but well, between farm stuff and it being nice enough out that I got some work done on my garage project at home. So this kind of sat longer than I wanted it to. Well, I might get some more polishing done this weekend. It probably won't end up in this video. So that's going to do it for this time, I guess, guys. Thanks for watching. And as always, please like and subscribe so you can follow the build.